It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Tuesday, November 21st, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Provi In The Media, the practical word study, and of course, commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? How are you doing? Yes, it is Tuesday. Monday's officially finished. I hope that you guys have enjoyed your first day of the week. A new day has started. Don't forget, guys, Q&A Thursday is coming up, so get those questions ready and send them to me whenever you can. If you haven't yet, leave a like and comment to build our community over here. Just super happy for everyone joining us every week down the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message title, God's Voice Telling Us, I leave after completing all the work. And then the second title or the second message we received was the law of love in which God treats each person according to what they have done. All right. So it is Tuesday. And of course, the biggest news going on today is the trial. The trial starts at 10 a.m. in Korea. So that would be like 5 p.m. on Monday. Right, so those of you guys, it's going to be Monday for you at 5 p.m., but it's going to be 10 a.m. For those guys in Asia, in Korea time. So the trial is today. Let's put in some extra prayers. I know a lot of people in Korea are going to Wolmyeong to pray during the trial also. So I hope that all of us, those of you guys who still have some time and it's not quite 10 a.m. yet over there in your country, well, Korean time, there's still some time left to pray more. Unfortunately for me, I will not be in the Wolmyeong area because I will be in an airplane, right? So I will be flying to Taiwan, and my flight's at what time is it at? It's at 8. It's at 8:50 a.m. So then I won't be arriving till around 11. So I think that by that time, the trial might already be over. So maybe we'll get an update on that for Wednesday. So for me, it's still, if you guys want to know what time it is today right now, because I'm leaving the house I'm at right now near Wolmyeong, and I had to clean the house, put the drive the garbage away. I have a car that I need to return back. I went to go return the car and then took a taxi back. I didn't even get home until past 1 a.m. I've packed all my bags, and it is currently 3:22 a.m. At the moment. But I'm not saying this just to say that, oh, I'm doing this for you guys kind of thing. It's more of this week's message. We got to get all the things we need to get done for each and every day, no matter how hard it is. I could just say that, hey, I'm going to take a break today, but I'm not going to feel the joy of completing what I should be completing for this Monday. Well, this is going to be a Tuesday podcast for you guys, right? So for me, this is something that's part of my checklist of what the things I need to do. And regardless of what time it is, I still got to do it. And I hope it's something that all of us can do too when it comes to our spiritual or physical things that we need to do every day. It's the day after the big volleyball event for me. My body is just it's crushed. My muscles are just sore. I had 6 games on Saturday. Sunday, I played for another 3 hours of volleyball. So, for me, it was just really amazing to see such a big event, this volleyball event, happen during this difficult time. And I do think that some people may think that this volleyball event is done at the wrong time. Sunseem's trial is happening 2 days after this event is finished. But there's one thing for sure, is that if you guys didn't listen to yesterday's word study, this is an event that is blessed by Sunseem. And he was the first to reach out to the volleyball department, right? And if you didn't hear the word study from yesterday, I did talk about this a little bit, but Sunseem has been in contact with the volleyball department here in Korea since July. And for over 2 months, he's been discussing with the event. And there's been 7 letters that were exchanged during those 2 months. So that's almost one a week. Almost one a week, right? So And I think I talked about this yesterday. The most moving part for me is that Sunsteam, in his situation, cares so much about the events happening in Providence. The example being the volleyball department. You got to think about how crazy that is. In his situation, he's thinking about volleyball, right? He wants it to be successful. And for me, one of the things I realized through this is I think this is really like what Sunsteam's doing, like in his situation, and even reaching out to the volleyball department, which isn't even the biggest sports department. It's such a huge sign, right? And it shows me that here is Sunsteam, like this week's message of Sunsteam's going to do his work. You know, God's like, I will leave after I complete my work. And Sunsteam is completing his work every day, right? And he finishes everything he needs to do, even to the point of the volleyball department. And all that's left is the work that we have to do. So here's the thing that I'm realizing is like, no matter what his situation is, even if he's in trial, even if he's in jail, he's doing his work, right? Like one of the things I was talking to someone else is, you know, I would, in the future, I want to hear about those people who are living in the same room as Sunsteam in that prison, right? I want to hear their testimonies of like what they saw Sunsteam do. Like I want to hear that, but I also want to hear what the people living next to KJS in that prison, what they see of her also. Like that would be very, very interesting for me to actually see, like to hear. And I want to hear it, right? Because Sunsteam gets his work done no matter what. And that's something that really moved me. And I realized that this is what it means when God says he is always with us. Now, so how did I realize this? Well, think about it. Through Sunsteam's actions, you see that there is no situation or circumstance or excuse that stops him from being together with us, helping us, asking how we're doing. He's always taking care of us, making sure we have everything we need, no matter what his situation is. And if you think about in the world, it's hard to trust people because there's always a reason not to do something. There's always an excuse not to be there for you, right? Difficult times, hardships, tribulations. Oh, you know, my dog died or my parents divorced. Like there's all these big harsh things that are out there that can stop people. I'm not saying they're all excuses because some of them are very valid reasons. But no matter how difficult, no matter what the hardships are, Sunsteam's always there. He's always doing what he's supposed to do. Can you imagine if there's someone like that in the world right now? If there's a person that loves you and no matter what is happening in their life, they are always going to be there next to you. They're always thinking about you. Like even when they're going through the harshest difficulties, right? They kind of act like nothing is happening. Right? And like you don't know that they're going through their struggles, but they're there for you. And I think that's what love is. When you're so deeply in love with someone, the difficulties you're going through mean nothing compared to being with the one that you love. And that's why they are always with you, right? Someone there that is for you, there for you no matter what. You can always trust, right? And whenever they say they're going to be there, you can trust that they'll be there. They'll always be by your side. And through Sunsteam, you know, his communications with the volleyball department, I was like, this is what it means that he's always by our side. And Sunsteam is the best example. Sunsteam's struggling, going through the most difficult time. Because think about this, guys. It's not just him being in trial, but one of the people that he loved the most has betrayed him. And a bunch of people that he's close to and love have betrayed him. But he's still asking the volleyball department what they need. And he's still wondering how people are doing. And when I look at that, I'm just like, wow, like that is like the greatest sign, knowing that, yeah, this is what it means that I'll always be by your side. So, you know, it's something that was very, very interesting for me to when I heard them, the way Sunsteam was communicating with the volleyball department, like I said, it's not even the biggest sports department, but just hearing that, him reaching out first was like that sign, like, yeah, I'll always be there for you. No matter what the situation, there's no excuse, there's no reason that will stop me from being there with you. And it really made me realize more about God. Like, yeah, this is what it means, God too. He's not going to stop. He's going to always be with us all the time. So that's something that I thought was really deep and awesome when I heard the volleyball pastor talking about the letters that they were exchanging with Sunstein. Sorry, I'm just having a coffee right now too. But there's something that I'm going to ask you guys here. I'm not sure if this is normal, but I think I'm starting to feel the stress from the situation of this year, like now. And I think the reason is because I'm in Korea hearing all the stuff. I'm hearing from everywhere, here and there. Someone telling me this stuff, then another person telling me this stuff, then another person telling me this stuff. And some of the stuff is quite shocking. Remember the guy, like Thursday, guys? Thursday, I was talking about stuff that I was so shocked by, and I have everyone calling me like, I can't believe that just happened. People are telling me they were crying listening to it too. And what happened today was, like, this is my last day here in Korea, and it's already like 3:30 in the morning over here, right? So it's Tuesday morning, but on Monday morning, I had lunch with a friend, really, really good friend, and we were talking about internet ministry. But the most interesting part was, at the very end of the meeting, we went out to eat, and he's dropping me off, and he says, let's pray before you go. I was like, all right, let's pray. And he said he started praying, and he said something really deep in the prayer. And he said that he started talking about the ambition masterpiece and how it crumbled 5 times. But we had to make it again, rebuild it again 5 times until it was made perfectly. And, in his prayers, like, this is a situation right now. Right now is ambition masterpiece crumbling, like Providence crumbling like the ambition masterpiece, but being rebuilt in 2023. And even for me, I was realizing, like, wow, like these big figures in Providence have succumbed to temptation. And for those of you guys don't know, there's like these 5 major figures that when I was growing up that were big. Like number 1 was An, right? And he was number 2 like AJ, right? 1999, he was the one who betrayed Sunstein. So there's number big one, right? This one is totally about power, okay? The second one, I believe it was Pastor Moon, right? Not the one that we know that has the business for like cosmetics, but it's a different pastor. He was the one president of CGM or Providence in Korea. And there was, he succumbed to like money. And then there was another person, his name was like Paul Jung, right? Jung Baul, right? And he was someone who's preaching like crazy. He was at the top of Providence too, but he also fell to like to opposite sex and stuff like that. And then of course we had one of the beginning people in Providence was Kim Kyung-chun, right? And he was someone that fell towards power, I believe, because he was jealous of like what KJS was being on top instead of him. And then of course the final one is KJS, which is happening this year. And these are 5 major figures that, kind of succumb to either money, sex, or power, right? So 5 of them. And it was interesting because in my head I was like, oh, and the ambition masterpiece crumbled 5 times, just like these 5 major leaders and figures crumbled 5 times, right? 5 of them crumbled. So these people were either second in command or they were like president of CGM of Providence and stuff like that too. And it all came down to money, sex, and power. And these are kind of like the 3 biggest vices in life that people are tempted by. But as he was talking about, like, this is the 5th time that that the ambition masterpiece has crumbled, I felt so heartbroken. I felt like, like it's collapsed again. And the feeling of we have to rebuild it again. You know how hard this work is? And my heart sank. I had this heavy weight on my heart. I didn't want to do it. I don't want to rebuild it again. It's just so hard, and it's in your head like, oh, is it gonna fall again? I just didn't want to go through the rebuild. I was like, man, it's already been so hard just to get to this point in Providence, and then it crumbles again. I don't want to rebuild it again. And I had the feeling in my heart was, I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do this all over again. I just don't. And then I realized deeply, like the deep realization I had in my heart was, remember what Sunstein said after the rocks crumble 5 times? Even though the rocks will crumble, my heart will not crumble. You remember that, right? When Sunseep said that about the Mission Masterpiece, even though the rocks crumbled, my heart did not crumble, right? And for me, I didn't quite realize it that deeply until now. It's so deep to me now because I realize what that feeling is like. Knowing that knowing when we see how disheartened we are seeing Providence crumble, just like the Ambition Masterpiece. Like we saw it crumble this year. And then knowing we have to rebuild it again. Even though we came so far, we built it over and over and over again. And we thought we were doing okay. And then we have to rebuild it. And I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to rebuild it again. But I know we have to do it. We just got to take action. Even though it's going to be so hard, we got to do it. And for me, I realized that feeling of the disheartened feeling of everyone seeing that Ambition Masterpiece crumble for the 5th time, thinking that it was done. And then we're like, we got to do it again. This is the 5th time. And I realized the shimjung of that time when the Ambition Masterpiece crumbled. I realized that shimjung so deeply of not wanting to build it again. It was just so profound at that moment. And my heart was so heavy, I didn't want to do anything. Like it was really, really heavy. I was getting stressed. My heart was beating really hard. And just that prayer that he had, it just put so much weight on me. And what he went through, what Sunseep went through with the Ambition Masterpiece, in order for it to become a masterpiece, the incredible struggle, right? And I can't imagine, even now, Sunseep already went through the Ambition Masterpiece and the crumbling of it 5 times. So he already went through that. He went to trial. He's going through trial again. People are leaving him, betraying him and stuff. The big people in Province keep leaving. They're sucked into temptation. But he still goes forward. And what happened was, after that meeting with that friend of mine, I was heading home. And I get a call hey, there's going to be a Warmingdong tour. Do you want to come or not? And, I'm already in that mode. I don't want to go. I really don't want to do this tour. I'm not in the mood for it. And I started looking for a cafe here and there. I went to the first cafe, it was closed. Second cafe, it was closed. I got lost in the countryside. And then finally, I find this small cafe. I start working on the podcast. And then I went home. And I was you're talking over an hour and a half later. And when I got home is when the person from IMD is getting ready to go to Warmingdong to go do the tour with some members from Hawaii. And I've already got this heavy heart. And as I drive and as I'm pulling into the parking lot, the IMD person says to me, hey, you want to go to the tour? And I was in my head, I'm at that time it was around 3 p.m. And I was man, I haven't even done my podcast. Man, this is 12 hours ago. I was I haven't even done my podcast. I haven't packed. I have another meeting at 6 p.m. Man, I don't think I can go. But then for some reason, that feeling came in, was hey, just like the Ambition Masterpiece, even though in our hearts, we don't want to rebuild it again, but we got to rebuild it. And I was all right, I'll go. And I went on the tour. And, I think God really rewarded me, because when I got to Warmingdong, there's someone there hey, let me buy you a latte. So they bought me a latte. So I'm wow, God, you're really blessing me for coming up here. I'm going to be awake for this thing too. And as we're going through the tour, we get to this highlight tree, which is the Symbolism Pine tree. 상징솔. And the story was an hour, but it was amazing and incredible. And it just reminded me of the Ambition Masterpiece. It was going through the same cycle. Sunseep wanted to buy it. The guy said he would sell it to him, but then Sunseep said he'll think of this. We'll do the contract a little bit later. And then they find out that this guy's the owner's about to sell it to another group. And Sunseep has to finally, send one of the disciples out there to see if they can convince him again. And they meet him right at the same time that this guy was going to go out and get the contract signed by another group who wanted to buy it. and then that person shares the word and eventually convinces the guy to sell it back to Sunsteam. So they're super happy about this. And then what happens is the owner also says, hey, the tree's not quite healthy yet, so let me take care of it for one more year. But during that year, more problems came because the group that he was going to sell it to, but then decided to sell it back to Sunsteam, they're actually like a gangster group, like mafia, right? And they basically start threatening with court trials. And the guy's going to court because they said that, hey, you promised it to us, but now you're going to sell it to this guy kind of thing, right? He's getting threatened. He wins the first trial. It gets appealed. Like, he went through think about it. You're going to get the tree you want. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, problem comes up. They're going to sell it to someone else. You resolve that. Next problem, they're going to court. Resolve that. Next problem, it's the appeal. Resolve that, right? There was so many problems that came one after the other. Like, you think it's going to be over, just like the Ambition Masterpiece. Every time you build it, you think it's done. Like, okay, finally, it's done. But by the time, it gets to the point of signing the contract, another problem happens. And then another problem happens. But the crazy part is, Sunsteam still moves forward. No matter how difficult it gets, he still tries to find a new way to do it. Like, even after they just getting that tree to Wolmingdong was a miracle because it was oversized and it's the largest tree ever moved, right, by this company. On top, there's always problem after problem. The irrigation system they need for that tree, it's incredible. All the difficulties for that one tree. But Sunsteam, after every problem that comes, he finds a remedy. After every problem, he still moves forward. And when I heard that story, I'm like, Sunsteam, when are you going to give up? Like, everything sounds like it's over. Like, oh my gosh, we can't do this. It's over. And it's like every time you think to yourself, it's over. It's like one of those movies where you're like, it's constantly like, oh no, another problem. And then another problem. And every problem just one on top of the other. And you think that it's going to be impossible. But Sunsteam keeps pushing. And after I heard that story, I was really inspired. All the heavy burden was lifted off me. And I was like, you know what? We got to do this. We really, really got to do this and do it well. And after hearing that, it was like that story was especially for me. And I was so inspired by it that I was like, yeah, it's time to run again. It's really time to run. Yes, we're going through, the Ambition Masterpiece has crumbled for the 5th time, but what does that mean? Let's push forward. Let's really, really push forward. Right? And that led into another conversation with another friend that I had. And we were talking about temptations and how to overcome. And one of the problems that we were talking about is a lot of times people act like children with Sunsteam, which means that every little problem that comes, they're reporting everything all the time. But, as people who are growing into adults in this history, we shouldn't be like children. Like, every small issue, Sunsteam, oh, please, Sunsteam, help me with this. Oh, Sunsteam. No, I think a lot of the things that we go through, they can be settled on your own. And when you have a problem with someone, if you're an adult, you should be taking care of that problem like adults. Talk to the person, sit down with them, have a coffee, talk about what's your issue, what's their issue, and talk about it together. I think that's normal. But what I noticed in the past is people just, the very first sign of some type of problem, they always go and send a letter first. And I'm thinking, can you imagine if that was what people actually did all the time with Sunsteam? Which means if you have 100,000 people in Providence, so 100,000 people are going to send you letters every time there's something small. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. That's why even when I was head leading, one of the things I realized is that there are so many problems that you can actually resolve in the church. You don't need to send anything to Sunsteam. He doesn't have to do all that work, like even to that little level, right? That's why it reminds me of when Moses was counseling people. People would be lining up for the entire day to get their problem solved by Moses. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, is kind of like, dude, you got to do this more wisely or you're going to get burned out. He's like, how should I do it? Find wise people that can take care of it. And if they can't take care of it, then eventually send them to you. You know what I mean? So it's like they're doing it in a wise way where they're able to get, Moses doesn't have to answer every question. Like there's some things that are nonsense questions that anyone can answer, or some of the questions or some of the problems that people have, Moses, like these are some things that people should be like figuring out on their own. We're not kids anymore. And we were talking about it. It's like, yeah, we need to, peace and harmony doesn't come where you fight with someone, you write a letter to Sunsteam, and Sunsteam says, be peaceful, and then all of a sudden everyone's it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? We have to be those that are mature, that are adults, that we do things properly. We do it in a way that when we do it, like we can resolve the things that we need to resolve at our level. There's some things Sunsteam doesn't even need to get involved in. Like, some people will say, well, if the man of mission is your bridegroom, then you tell your bridegroom everything. And the answer is, no, you don't. Now, what does that mean? I'm not saying that don't hold secrets from your bridegroom. What I'm saying is there's a ton of things that you can resolve on your own, right? If you fight with your friend, why do you have to get your bridegroom involved? Just talk to your friend, get it resolved. Later, you could talk to your bridegroom, your husband about it and say, hey, man, I had this crazy situation. This happened, this, and we resolved it, this, and this, right? Not everything is done by the man of mission. It's just not. But people seem to, think that that is the way to do it. And I'm like, no, it shouldn't be done that way. There's no way it should be done that way. There are so many things that we can resolve on our own. There's so many things that we can resolve in such an easier way. We don't, that's why we have pastors. That's why we have department leaders. That's why we have headquarters, because they should be able to get resolved without, a lot of it should be resolved without Sunsteam. Of course, the big matters, that makes sense. But there's a ton of stuff that is so small. We should be able to get those, resolved very, very quickly. And I was really thinking about that too. In the past, I was very, very young, inexperienced. And I thought that, that was the way to do it, is just to send everything, all your thoughts. And the answer is no. You don't have to send all your thoughts. You don't have to send every single thing. There's a lot of stuff that we have to deal with on our own. There's a lot of stuff that we have to deal with together, right? Just like this week's message said. So yeah, it was just really interesting having these types of conversations with people. And I hope it's something that, we really think about also is, what are the things that we should be able to resolve on our own? And there's a ton, but people really just don't see it, right? And I hope it's something that all of us can really get ourselves to understand at a much, much deeper level too, right? So yeah, those are a couple of the conversation things that I was thinking about. Tell me what you guys think about this too, because there's a lot of things to think about in this history right now, and a lot of things that we do that we shouldn't do, and things that we shouldn't do that we are doing. Does that make sense? Did I say the exact same thing? You should do. No, what did I say? But you got one. You got the gist, right? There's a lot of things that we can get resolved on our own. And I hope it's something that all of us too, as mature people spiritually, if we're mature, ask the right people, right? Get the answer what Sunsteam wants to give, right? And people who are experienced in that area. And what's going to happen is you're going to get the answers, because Sunsteam's going to be teaching us, right? He teaches us not only through the word, but through the ones that are studying the word too. So yeah, very, very eventful day. Very eventful day as my last day here in Korea. I will be heading to the airport in less than an hour. So it's very, very interesting. But I'm very, very grateful and thankful that God is blessing all of us, right? We're all being blessed so much. Actually, there's another conversation we had is, what is the blessing going to be like at the end of 2023? And one of my friends even said, I've never thought about that until you asked me, right? And they were like, it feels like it's God asking me, what do you want? And I think it's something that we have to really think about too, is God wants to make us happy. God wants what we want too, but as long as it doesn't hurt us, right? So yeah, a lot of different things that I was thinking about, a lot of different things that I really wanted to understand even more deeply. And I think it just takes a lot of discussion. That's what we need, discussion. Yeah. Either way. But very grateful and thankful, guys. It's my last podcast here in Korea for 2023 because I won't be coming back in 2023. But I will be heading to Taiwan this morning. I'll be there in, by noon Korea time. So I'm really, really happy about that. I'm going to have a really good time, check out new cafes, meet a lot of people, play some sports and stuff like that too. So I'm excited about this also. All right. So before we get into the practical word study, let's first get into the first break of the day.
Yeah, rise up to the challenge, armed with the word in action, belt to the truth fastened, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying. Everyone thinks I lost, but now I'm turning Super Saiyan. I gotta be new, gotta be great, I only gotta win this thing. Fix mistakes, fix who I am, all I wanna do is change. Gotta be brave, gotta be tough, no more time for delaying. It's just training, all those times of pain, off, pushing my limits. Only with God, I'm trying to be better, I'm trying to feel God. Enemies watching, they want you to fall, but you have to be better, you have to give it your all. Every day I make myself, but I know it's not easy. This is the life I chose and I know my spirit's breathing. The battle has only begun and I may take damage, but if I fall, all I know how to do one thing. Rise up to the challenge, armed with the word in action, belt to the truth fastened, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying. Everyone thinks I lost, but I'm turning Super Saiyan. I'm Goku turning Super Saiyan, I'm charged up, now I'm playing. On the mount like Sinai, I can live with God like Wi-Fi. Receive the word, always praying, spiritual path where I'm staying. Everyone thinks I lost, but I'm always with him, so you know I'm prevailing. Protecting myself from Satan, armed with the truth, now my engine will shoot like. Now I'm at my truest form, I'm trying to really be the greatest. The power level can't contain it, my energy is never draining. Look how far we have made it, unlocking levels, never hesitated. There's no try, you can just do it or don't, so fix your thoughts instead. Everybody makes mistakes, just gotta take notes, can afford to do it again. Life is so easy, if you just do what is right and just follow what's real. Victory comes through skill, gotta stay on course, time to kill. Now's the time to rise and shine, thinking of the past and never forget. God is Lord, by your side, hold your hand, dry your eyes, trust in the Lord every night and day. He'll never let you go, don't fall away. Be bold, be brave, and with all your heart, love the Lord to the end of time. Rise up to the challenge, armed with the word in action, held to the truth fastened, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying. Everyone thinks I lost, but I'm turning Super Saiyan.
All right, so let's get into today's word study. And every Tuesday, we have the practical word study. What are the things that we can do to put the words of God into action for this week? And I think there's two things that I thought would be very, very good for us to do as an exercise, right? Because this week's message is about also, finishing your work. God does his work, Sunseam does his work, but that means the only thing left is you do your work. And one of the first things that really was inspiring to me is he said that when you complete your work, when you finish your work, right, then that you receive joy from it, right? You receive joy from the things that you actually finish. And I thought to myself is like, yeah, when we finish something, that's where, even in the future, you could talk about it and you receive joy from it, right? And I started to, think about all the different stories that I had with the Lord in the past when I was a missionary. Before that, what was I doing in my life? And here's some of the things that happened over the weekend. In the past, in the way back in the past, like 15 years ago. I was traveling around Korea, Japan, Taiwan, giving talks, evangelism rallies, and such too. And there's tons of newcomers that came from those talks. And what happened was on the weekend during the volleyball tournament, there's a Japanese member that I met. And he said when he was a newcomer, he listened to my talk 13 years ago when I was in Japan. And we were just, it was a break between games. And he's talking about like Sunday after volleyball, about how they were inspired and moved, right, when they heard my talk 13 years ago. And he said it gave a lasting impression, right? And it just gave me so much joy because it's finished, meaning I actually did it. It's done kind of thing, right? And when I looked at that, I was like, oh, that's what it really means, that the things that we have finished, those things that we have finished, because of that, we're able to receive joy from that even now. Like there was another good friend who's a listener of MSD, and he's from Korea, and we met him during the volleyball tournament, and we took a picture together and stuff like that too. But he's like, you know what? You don't know how much your podcast helped me get through the most difficult times. And for me, I'm like, yeah. Why do I receive joy from this? Because it's done. It's finished. It was made, right? The 961 different episodes, they are made, right? And people are receiving benefit from it. I got another text from another friend too, right? And this person was talking about, they were testifying that someone else was telling them that they're listening to MSD and they feel very supported. They feel like it's really deep, right? And they said it was like a gift from God to them. And it is, for me, it's like, the only reason I'm bringing it up is not to brag or a humble brag or whatever it is, right? It's because it's this week's messages. The only reason I feel joy from it is because I'm actually doing it. I'm completing it each and every day, even right now as it's getting closer and closer to 4 a.m. You know what I mean? And because of that, I'm like, yeah, that's the reality. And I think one of the first things that we can do is we have to be those that, write down the things of the past that you can receive joy from because it's finished, right? Like I said, 961 episodes, moving towards 1,000. And when I get there, I can say that I did it, 1,000 episodes. And I think this is one of the first things we can do to put the word into action. Knowing that there is joy from completing your work every day, right? Think about these things, write them down, reminisce, talk to each other about it, testify about it, talk about the things that you completed, right? Like even when I look at the volleyball tournament, like all my close friends are the ones running the volleyball tournament. The organizers, the people in charge can really receive joy because they finished the tournament. They did it until the end, and there's a joy in completion, right? So my first exercise, I thought to myself, is like, we should talk about those things. Think about those things that you've completed in your life, and then the joy that you received from them too, right? So that was the first thing. The second thing, sorry, I was yawning. It's 4 a.m. here, but the second thing that I thought is make a list of what you need to complete every day. Like I'm talking about daily tasks, not like weekly, monthly, or yearly tasks. Because when it becomes too long of duration, then you kind of lose a lot of hope. Like, oh my gosh, I still have 100 days of this left. I still have 300. I still have 500 days left of this. And it can kind of be discouraging because it's just too big of a project. So one of the simplest ways you could do it is to make a list of home projects or things that you're going to do during the day that you could check off, right? And these daily tasks are things that need to be done right away. And one of the things that neuroscientists will say is when you make a checklist, one of the things it actually does is what it does is it lets out dopamine. Like every time you check something off on a list, it gives you dopamine because you can't wait to check the next thing off and you're looking forward to it. It gives you more energy, right? So, I think another thing we could do is write our daily tasks, things that need to be done right away. And the dopamine hit is going to be so strong every time you check something off your checklist, right? It makes your brain look forward to finishing a task, right? So what would be some things that a daily tasks that we would do? Well, depending on the day, there's like pre-dawn, what we listed the message, read one chapter of the Bible, cleaning, studying, working, daily work projects, meeting people, managing people, lecturing. There's just like so many things that need to be done, right? But I would implore you guys, as one of the big things for the practical word study is to actually is to write a list. Make a checklist of the things that you need to do for that day, right? And, I know that a lot of you, well, not a lot of you. Actually, I think I'm just going crazy and senile, but it's just interesting how we are meeting people. Like even for me, like this last day, I met so many people, had great conversations too. And I'm hoping that all of us will realize how much God is trying to help each and every one of us too. Like I'm straight up like for me, when I look at, when I see all the different things happening, when I talk to a lot of people, you could just see God through them. And like I told you guys before, how people have treated me here just really feels like this is God treating me like that. I got to do really well. Right? People just what they did for me during this trip in Korea for the last 3 weeks is such a godsend and something that I'm so thankful for. And it just really made me feel how much God is taking care of me. But so that's kind of the practical word study that I want to talk about today is those two lists. One is the things that are already done and you're going to receive joy from them. And the thing that's going to be good about this is when someone receives joy from doing something when people receive joy from doing work, right? We have to realize is, I just lost my thought twice in a row. I just lost it twice in a row. Oh, okay, I'm back to where I am, okay? So we need to finish our work. Write those two lists down, right? Realize that you're going to get joy from writing down the things that you have already completed, and you're going to receive joy from checking off things that you're doing each and every day, right? So that's kind of the practical word study that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I hope it's something that really helps you guys out too. There's a lot to think about and a lot to talk about also. But if you have anything else you want to add, go ahead, leave it in the comments below too. Would love to hear what you guys are thinking about this week's message too. Right? I would have to say one of the things that you need to switch in your mind is when God says vengeance is mine, he really means it. We're not the ones who have any idea, right? We shouldn't be the ones that are thinking that, we are the ones that should take vengeance for God. No, God is all powerful and almighty. And when the problems happen, they're going to happen, right? If God's going to judge, they're going to get judged. And we need to leave vengeance to God because God knows better than us. I talked about this in the Sunday message. So many times we think that someone should be judged, but we don't really know their full situation. And that's why Sunsteam treats them really, really well. So, we have to leave vengeance to God. Vengeance belongs to God, not to us. All right? So there it is, guys. That is today's practical word study. Hope those two lists that you can come up with will help you guys out too, putting this week's words into action. Okay, so before we move into Provi In The Media, I have two articles I'm going to go over. Let's move into the second break of the day.
When I look at you, it's like I got the whole room on the tip of my finger, and I'm pointing it right back to you. When I look at you, it's like I got the whole universe, the whole universe. Never thought that living could be easy. So you taught me right from wrong, now I'm free to be full of love, full of hope, I'm empty of all things. I'm living to make everyone come follow me. This is a life worth living that I know. If I love someone else, what would he give me though? It's like I'm floating step to the west, I'll follow behind you step by step. Just like the stars above, we shining, shining. Look at the world, in my hands the universe is mine. It's yours, can't escape from the love, it's yours. It's yours, can't escape from the love, it's yours. Just like the stars above, we shining, shining. Look at the world, in my hands the universe is mine. It's yours, can't escape from the love, it's yours. It's yours, can't escape from the love, it's yours. When I look at you, it's like I got the whole room on the tip of my finger, and I'm pointing it right back to you. When I look at you, it's like I got the whole universe, the whole universe. You said believe in me, don't change, and then you'll see a life that lasts for all eternity. And I will never live to have any regrets. I know you're the best, I'll step to the west, I'll follow behind you step by step. Just like the stars above, we shining, shining. Look at the world, in my hands the universe is mine. It's yours, can't escape from the love, it's yours. It's yours, can't escape from the love, it's yours. Just like the stars above, we shining, shining. Look at the world, in my hands the universe is mine. It's yours, can't escape from the love, it's yours. It's yours, can't escape from the love, it's yours. When I look at you, it's like I got the whole room on the tip of my finger, and I'm pointing it right back to you. When I look at you, it's like I got the whole universe, 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 the whole universe.
Okay, so let's move into our final segment for today. And this is one of the segments a lot of people do look forward to, which is Provi In The Media. Just kind of going over some articles of what's happening. And here it is. Here's one interesting article about Sunsteam. Very, very interesting one. So the title is "The Place Where JMS Did Something Terrible. Allegations about a JMS hotel promotion," right? And it says unfounded. So there's this TV show in Korea called I Live Alone, right? And it stated that the suspicion that it promoted the hotel of CGM or JMS, right? So what's happening in here? So there's a statement that was on the 17th where the production team of I Am Alone said the suspicions currently being raised are unfounded, and added, "We will pay more attention and make efforts to respond to the various opinions sent by viewers." Right? So what actually happened? So the suspicion was raised recently when a scene was aired in which a singer for one of the old K-pop groups called SHINee, his name is Key, one of the cast members of I Am Alone, visits a hotel to enjoy the fall foliage. Right? So on the 5th, there's a YouTuber that claimed in a video titled "There is a JMS believer among the NBC I Live Alone production crew" that the hotel shown on the show is related to JMS, right? So at the time, so this is what the explanation is. At the time, they claimed that although the hotel in question appears to be unrelated to JMS on paper, most of the sports days and festivals held by JMS were held here. Moreover, it was shocking to hear that this was a place where the leader committed atrocious acts against female believers, which the trial isn't even done. So you can see where the media is going, right? But after this YouTuber broadcasted this, the Methodist Church Damage Prevention Center made a public complaint, sent it to NBC, and then this news began to spread online and the controversy grew. Right? So this is kind of how crazy it is in Korea. Just kind of let you guys know is they're saying that, oh my gosh, this is a JMS hotel, and it actually isn't one, but there's complaints coming from the Methodist Church because some YouTuber said that was what's true. Right? So, that's one of the sad parts is they're unfounded, meaning they're not checked. They're not checked at all. Right? So, basically what happened here is, the public opinion becomes so strong that now even hotels that are not even province are suffering from it too, which is really unfair. But that's kind of give you an idea of the situation that's happening right now. The second one has to do with what I talked about last week on Friday what happened was Sunstein put in another application for judicial recusal. Right? So remember, he already sent one in, got rejected. He appealed it, got rejected, and then went to the Supreme Court, and that got rejected. And then Sunstein sent in another application for judicial recusal. So here's the article. It says, another application for judicial recusal filed by Sunstein of CGM, who is on trial on charges of these charges against female believers, was dismissed in one day. And this sounds like it's kind of normal, right? Because it's the second one he's doing. So on the 15th of November, the 12th Criminal Division of the Daejeon District Court dismissed the application for judicial recusal filed again by Sunstein. So the court appears to have ruled that the application for judicial recusal against the presiding judge, it was previously filed, was inappropriate when the application for recusal was filed again, despite the final decision of dismissal by the Supreme Court. So as the application for judicial recusal was dismissed, the criminal trial against Sunstein, scheduled for the 21st, will proceed without a change in the date, and that's why it's still happening today, right? So an application to recuse a judge is a system in which a prosecutor or defendant applies to exclude a judge from performing his or her duties when there is concern that the judge may conduct an unfair trial in accordance with Article 18 of the Criminal Procedure Act. After the application, if the court determines that the purpose of delaying the lawsuit is not for other reasons, the related criminal lawsuit will be suspended in accordance with Article 22, right? And that's what happened in the first one. Now, afterwards, another judge belonging to the same court will decide whether to recuse himself or not. And then Sunstein's side filed a motion to recuse the judge ahead of the 11th trial on July 18th. Right. So at the time, the court judged that there was no purpose for delaying the lawsuit and accepted the application and suspended the criminal lawsuit related to Sunstein. Right. That's what happened the first time. Now, the 10th Criminal Division of the Daejeon District Court, which heard the case, dismissed the application on July 26th, saying that the trial was conducted legally. Right. So, and then, of course, now we have it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And then now we've sent in another one on last week. And that was rejected after one day. And basically they said, nope, the trial's still going to go on. So it's going to be on the 21st of November, which is today right now. Right? So that's kind of the situation there where Sunstein tried to recuse the judge again, but they threw it away saying that it was unfounded. And it was something that was not enough. It wasn't enough to change the minds of the, It wasn't enough to change the mind of the courts that they had to recuse the judge or not, right? So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen on the 21st, but I do know that a ton of people are going to Warmington to pray. And also a lot of people are going to the courthouse. They can't actually go in the courtroom, but they'll be waiting for Sunstein, not for Sunstein, but they'll be waiting for to hear the news of what is happening with Sunstein's trial too. So yeah, that's kind of the two articles that have come out so far. And we really got to pray for the trial that's happening today at 10 a.m. in Korea time. I hope that all of us will really be able to have that heart and that mindset that will set the condition for Sunstein, that we'll be able to get a favorable answer also. Okay? So there it is, guys. That is Provi In The Media. I hope you guys enjoyed that. A lot of things to think about, a lot of things that are in our hearts and our minds, but the most important thing right now is to pray. Let's pray. Let's make sure that God's history is made, and let's make sure that we can really, really bring justice to Sunstein too. Okay? So there it is. That is a Tuesday podcast. Hope you guys really enjoyed that, and I hope you guys have an amazing and awesome day. And enjoy your day, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know. I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. head in the zone, you know.